Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending our webinar series today. My name is Tyson Mavar, one of the Chevron-focused retirement advisors for the retirement group here in Texas. And on today's webinar series, we're going to update everybody on the interest rates that affect the lump sum payouts at Chevron and talk about some of the important considerations when approaching retirement from Chevron as it pertains to your pension plan. For those of you who aren't as familiar with our company, the Retirement Group is an independent financial planning organization that specializes in working with corporate employees, specifically Chevron in my case and a few of my colleagues' cases, in helping folks plan for and transition successfully into retirement. We also manage retirement assets for employees of Chevron and some other Fortune 500 company employees around the country. And our hope is through some educational services that we offer to help you put together a very robust retirement plan that helps you to minimize your taxes, maximize your retirement income, and give yourself the highest probability of success in retirement, which for most people is just avoiding running out of money, but also some other values that we run into many of our clients having, which is estate planning and just making good decisions with their money throughout retirement. Whether or not you become a client of ours, we hope that you take advantage of some of these complementary resources. Cash flow analysis being what I would think is the most valuable of all of these resources, where we'll take your benefits, we'll help you come to terms with what's a reasonable spending goal in retirement, and we'll put a plan together for you to see if you're on track to meet your goals, what are some of the risks that you might want to be focusing on avoiding, and some things that you can do now before you leave the company to improve your probability of success in retirement. We also have a LinkedIn page where we publish this webinar as well as many other topics related to the Chevron benefits, some of them generic to retirement income planning. If you're not following us on LinkedIn, I highly encourage you to do so, because that's where you can keep up to speed with some of the changes happening in the Chevron benefits, and also changes to tax rules that affect retirement accounts and other relevant content related to your retirement strategy. Now, we have many different seminars talking about the Chevron 401k options and different investment strategies, tax strategies for your Chevron 401k, specifically net unrealized appreciation, something that you might want to consider on your, especially the ESOP shares of stock, if you have any ESOP Chevron shares in your plan. Roth conversions are typically very valuable and effective for our clients from Chevron, especially those that have a lot of their retirement net worth in pre-tax assets or tax-deferred accounts like 401ks and IRAs. Check those out if you haven't done so yet, but today we're talking about the pension plan, and I'm going to zoom into this table looking at the interest rates that affect the Chevron lump sum benefits. Keep in mind, these are not relevant to folks that were hired after 2008, because those folks will be on the cash balance plan, which is much different than the defined benefit plans of the Heritage Gulf, Texaco, Caltex, Unical, and Chevron employees who have one of a variety of different legacy plans, wherein your lump sum is inversely correlated with interest rates. The interest rates they use are corporate bond interest rates, and what we're looking at here on this chart is the most recently available data on corporate bond interest rates for what they call the first segment, second segment, and third segment. Those are related to short, intermediate, and long-term corporate bonds. They publish these rates monthly, usually about 3 weeks after the end of the month that they are publishing data on. And so here we are at the end of June 2023. We now have data for May, as well as April and March. And what you want to remember on this Chevron pension calculation is that the company is going to use the third, fourth, and fifth month prior to the month that you commence your benefit in calculating your lump sum. As a result, you can see the fourth row here shows August 2023 blended rates. That's the average of these three rates at the top of the table: May, April, and March. So if you were to retire in July of 2023, the earliest benefit commencement date you could choose would be August 1st. You do not have to commence your benefit August 1st unless you are over the age at which they consider to be full retirement, which is age 65. If you are under age 65, you can defer your benefit, and there are a variety of reasons that we advise our clients to do this. Typically, it's because they're not yet age 60 and have some age penalties. You may want to consider deferring your pension in that scenario, whether or not you're taking a lump sum, even if you're considering the annuity option. And if interest rates are going down and we can project that based on this look back period, we have a bit of a crystal ball, we can see what direction rates are going. We may want to defer our pension election just to elect to take our lump sum in a lower interest rate environment, therefore producing a higher lump sum payout. So August based on May, April, and March, 3, 4, and 5 months prior to August. And every month they publish new rates, which will bump out one of the months. So once they publish the June rates, March will no longer be relevant in the calculation for the September commencement date lump sums. Now, what's happened to rates here? Well, first, it's important to understand that the second segment rate carries far more weight in the calculation than either the first segment or third segment. And for instance, it is 3 times more relevant than the first segment rate, and usually about 3 times more relevant than the third segment rate, but that does depend on your age and life expectancy when you take your pension. So if we focus on the second segment rate, look what's happened. We've actually seen rates since March of 2023 come down. So for somebody who is leaving the company and commencing their benefit in March of this year, their interest rates have dropped by more than 40 basis points, more than 0.4%. What that means in plain English is typically about a 4% increase to lump sums. A good rule of thumb to remember is every 1% increase to these interest rates is about a 10% drop in your lump sum. And just like a 1% decrease to these interest rates is typically about a 10% increase to your lump sum. Now, the severity of this interest rate impact on your lump sum is a function of your age when you leave the company. And the younger you are, the more severe an impact, a change in interest rates will impact your lump sum. The older you get, the less severe that impact becomes. So for instance, a 60-year-old might only have an 8% drop in their lump sum for every 1% increase to these interest rates, versus a 55-year-old, it's going to be even more than a 10% drop for every 1% increase to rates. Fortunately, they have a very good modeling tool in the Chevron benefits website. You can also get a link to the modeler through the Fidelity website if you log in to manage and monitor your 401k. And what you can do in calculating your pension, and we're delighted to help you with this process, by the way, we've done it thousands of times with our folks, to project future pension payouts, not just on the lump sum, but also the various annuity options, which are very important for everybody to consider. Even if you're pretty sure you want to take a lump sum, it's worth considering the merits of the various annuity options, and we'll talk to you about what we think those potential merits could be when we run your cash flow analysis. And in going through this pension modeling process, you're also going to be able to manipulate interest rates to say, what if interest rates go up another 1% before my retirement that is planned for next year? What will that do to my lump sum? And what can I do to plan for that potential reduced payout as a result of this unknown interest rate that's in effect when I leave Chevron and when I take my pension? Putting this plan together is really critical, but also planning conservatively is very critical when it comes to your retirement. Because of all the variables and all the unknowns, we would prefer to plan for more of a worst case scenario in an effort to produce a more robust retirement plan that can weather any kind of a storm or uncertainty that comes into the future. Uncertainties like what's happening with interest rates, as well as uncertainties in the economy and financial markets, uncertainties with tax laws, uncertainties with inflation and interest rates. All of these things are important to be prepared for, and in putting together a cash flow analysis, we could start to prepare for any scenario that might come our way, and that way we have a more desirable retirement experience regardless of what the outcome ends up being. Unfortunately, statistically, 74% of Americans do not have a written plan for their retirement. There's no excuse for this, folks. Our company, as well as many others, are willing to do this for you on a complimentary basis. We believe ours will be a good investment of your time if you're willing to spend some time with us. It's not going to cost you anything other than your time. But take advantage of it if you haven't done so already. And if it's been a while since we've updated your retirement cash flow analysis, it's probably a good time to get that updated because of all the changes we've seen just in the last year with the markets, interest rates, inflation, tax rules, and also some changes in the benefits plan. So let us know how we can help. And if you're interested in having us run that plan for you, the way to do that is by calling us at the home office at 888-900-5867. You can also email us at info@theretirementgroup.com, or you could take a picture of this QR code here on the left to get onto mine or one of my colleagues' calendars who understands the Chevron retirement process, even if it's just to ask a few questions. And again, there's the LinkedIn QR code. If you're not following us there, that's a great way to keep up to date on changes that are happening, as well as other good retirement planning strategies and information. With that, we're going to wrap it up for today's webinar series. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you all have a good, safe rest of your week, and we hope to talk to you all very soon.